Imagine the scene. A father steals 2.8 million rubles saved by his daughters and disappears with the lover. But the twins? They just smiled with an air of those who know more than it appears. Mom, relax. We already solved. What my little years-old daughters made next left me speechless. I'm Klara Mokova, and I always thought I had a perfect family. Until that Tuesday morning, when my life collapsed for good. It was in the kitchen of our apartment in Khimki, having a cold coffee while checking the bank's apps, the usual routine. Outside, the May sun shone, children shouted in the school courtyard. Everything seemed so normal, so quiet. I opened the girls' savings account, waiting to see that number that represented years of sacrifice. 17 years of hard work as an accountant, endless nozzles, each penny, clothes bought in thrift stores, vacation. I didn't even remember when I had taken the last ones. All for a future, so that Liz and Natasha, my twins, could study at a good university without drowning in debt like I once did. But when the app charged, my heart froze. Balance, zero. Absolute zero. I ran a hand over my eyes, thinking it was some system error. I updated the page. 1, 2, 3 times. Those zeros stared at me, cruel, like a joke of fate. My hands trembled so much that the cup slipped, shattering on the floor. 17 years. 17 years saving every coin, abdicating everything, and now, nothing. Not a trace. I took the phone and called Boris, my husband for 20 years. The subscriber is not available. I tried again. Same thing. A pressure on my chest choked me. Boris, call me right now, I managed to babble in the mailbox. Savings, the money. Everything has disappeared. I hung up and stared at the screen, as if, by miracle, the numbers appeared again. But miracles do not happen. It was then that I heard steps. Liz and Natasha arrived for breakfast before school. How to tell them? How to explain to 2 teenagers that your future had just been destroyed? Good morning, Mother, Liz said, throwing her backpack on the table. It was my face in young version, dark hair, serious eyes, dreaming of entering Sechenov Medical School. Dreaming. Natasha came in, as always stuck to her cell phone. Our computer genius, who lived programming, fixing, hacking for fun. He dreamed of the computer science course. Now these dreams seemed unreachable. They must have noticed my despair because they stopped and stared at me. Mom, what happened? Natasha asked, pushing the phone away. I opened your mouth, but the words did not come out. How to say that all of what we struggle had disappeared? Savings. The money from your college, there is no more, I was able to let go. I waited for the screams, for the tears, for the revolt. But instead, something unexpected happened. They exchanged a look. It was not the panic I imagined, nor the hopelessness. It was something else. Something that left me with a knot in my stomach. They smiled. Mom, don't worry, Liz said, with a calm that scared me. We find it a way. What do you mean, they find a way? I asked, wiping the tears. What are you talking about? Natasha sat beside me and patted my shoulder, as if she were the adult and me, the child. Trust us. It will be all right. I looked at them, lost. It was the worst day of my life, and they acted as if they knew something I ignored. Worse, they didn't look like surprises at all. Girls, I don't understand, my voice failed. It was your money from your future. Everything went away. Your father doesn't answer, and I have no idea what to do. They exchanged another look. This time, I saw something in their eyes that shivered me. It was no sadness, no fear. It was satisfaction. Mother, Natasha has lowered her voice, there are things you don't know yet. Things we find out about Dad. What things? ND the answer. But before they could explain, they took the backpacks and went to the door. We will be delayed to school, said Liz. But don't worry about money. We promise, everything will go back to your place. And they went out, leaving me alone between the shards of the broken cup, the zeros on the screen and a question hammering in the head. What the hell my daughters know I don't know? The rest of the day was torture. I called Boris 17 times. Always the same answer. The subscriber is not available or outside the coverage area. With each attempt, The anguish increased. I couldn't concentrate on anything, only updated the bank's application, as if, by magic, the numbers would appear again. When the girls arrived from school, I was already a rag, walking from side to side like an cornered animal. Twice I called the bank. Twice I heard the same thing: access to the account had been done by the legal holder, by notarized power of attorney. Her husband, Boris, got everything to the last penny. "Mom, you're horrible," Natasha said when she enters. "Did you eat something today?" "No." How to think about food when life falls apart. "Sit here," Liz guided me to the couch. "We need to talk." They sat in front of me, serious. The morning's enigmatic smiles had disappeared. Now their faces conveyed gravity that would change everything. "What you will hear now will hurt," Natasha started, opening the notebook. "But you need to know the truth about Dad." My heart was already broken, but something told me it was about to be crushed. Liz sighed deep. 3 months ago, I typed history work on the daddy's computer because mine had locked. Unintentionally, I opened his email instead of the printer settings. And I saw the messages. Hundreds of them. "Whose?" I asked, although I knew it. "From a woman named Irina Sokolova." That name was like a slap. I knew her. Project manager at the Boris Construction Company. Young, beautiful, newly formed. She saw her at a company event, laughing at his jokes as he watched her with a look that now made perfect sense. Natasha became the notebook for me. We keep everything before he went out. I looked at the screen, and the world collapsed for good. Message after message between my husband and that wife. "I miss you. I can't wait to see you today. Our future together." Each word was a punch in the stomach. "Keep rolling," Liz whispered. And I continued, even if each line was a stab. The message exchange lasted 7 months. 7 months when my husband swore love to another. 7 months planning a new life as I killed myself to work to secure the future of my daughters. But the worst was yet to come. "Look at this email last week," said Natasha, pointing to a message 5 days ago. I read aloud, with a shaky voice. "Irina, today I transferred the money. The 2.8 million from the savings of the girls plus 900,000 from the reserve. It's all in our joint account. Soon we'll start our new life in Sochi. As soon as I tell Clara. I can't wait." And there was still more. "He not only wanted to marry you and start everything from scratch," said Natasha, with a calm that froze my blood. "The girls will understand over time." I couldn't breathe. Literally. My husband was not just cheating on me. He had stolen the future of our daughters to build a new life with his lover. And that wasn't everything, Lisa added, with a voice so soft that it seemed like a knife blow. "He prepared for months. It has already been admitted to an apartment by the sea. He gradually transferred the money in amounts that you would not notice." I looked at my daughters through tears. "How long have you known?" 3 months, confessed Natasha, without blinking. "We tried to decide what to do. We didn't want to hurt you, but we couldn't allow him to destroy our family and steal our future." "And what you? Did they do it?" I asked, although it feared the answer. The two exchanged a look, and for the first time since that nightmare began, they smiled. "We gave the change," said Lisa. Natasha opened another tab in the notebook. "Remember I took that cyber and cyber forensic safety course?" I nodded, not understanding where she wanted to go. "Well, I documenting everything. Each email, every transfer, every lie. I created a digital trail that proves your father committed theft and betrayal. But most importantly," she paused dramatic, "is that I found their joint account. Where is our money?" "And that's when things were really interesting," he added, with a smile that looked more like a predator. "Let's say Irina Sokolova will be very unpleasant when trying to access these funds." Lisa leaned forward. "Dad thinks it's the smartest, Mom. But he forgot a crucial thing." "Which?" I asked, following my breath. "He created 2 daughters who are smarter than him. And we will not let anyone destroy our family." For the first time in 24 hours, I didn't just feel despair. I felt proud. My girls had discovered their father's betrayal, but they didn't break. They countered. "And now?" I asked. Both smiled, and I saw in them a strength that I had never noticed before. "Now," said Natasha, with a determination that shivered me, "let's show Dad that the Markov family women don't surrender without fighting." I needed to know everything. Every detail of how my daughters discovered Boris's betrayal and what they planned in the 3 months I lived in happy ignorance. "Tell me from the beginning," I asked, leaning against the couch. Lisa and Natasha exchanged a look, deciding where to start that amazing story. "It was a Sunday, in February," Lisa started. "Remember my notebook broke well when it comes to delivering important history work?" I nodded. Those days had been tense. Lisa had panicked, thinking he would lose all his progress. Boris offered his computer in the office, saying that he would go out to solve some issues and that she could use it at ease. Lisa's face changed. Only he forgot to leave the email account. Natasha continued. "When Lisa called me to help review the text, we both saw a notification of such an arena. In the preview, it was written, 'I can't stop thinking last night.' Love, my world turned upside down. Last night, while I slept in our bed, thinking that my husband had been late at work. At first we thought it was a mistake," Lisa continued. "Like, someone had typed the wrong email. But then Natasha suggested taking a look at the folder sent." "I know that poking is wrong," Natasha interrupted quickly. "But something was very strange. Dad has been weird for weeks, always on her cell phone, disappearing with any excuse, working late too late." I remembered February. Boris was really distant, but I attributed to the stress of the works. He complained of difficult customers, tight deadlines. I even felt sorry for him. "What did you find in us?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I want to know. "Everything," said Lisa, dry. "Months of conversations. Photos they exchanged. Plans for the future. And worse, Mom," she hesitated. "What he told about us. About you. Intimate things, of which he had no right to speak." Natasha opened a file in the notebook. "He wrote that you were boring and predictable. That had decade after the births. He complained that you worked too much and didn't pay attention to you. Each word was like a slap. 20 years of marriage. And that's how my husband described me to the lover. But the worst," Lisa said, "it was the emails about the money." "Show," I asked, though my heart seemed about to stop. Natasha rolled the files. "Here, March 15th. Lee, and the blood." And froze. "Irina, I thought of what you said. It's right. We need a solid amount to start over. I have access to about 3.7 million. Economies for the College of the Girls plus our reserve. Clara never checks the right extracts. I'm slowly transferring until it's late." He had planned for months. "Worse," said Natasha, dark. "Look at April. Open the next file made me dizzy. Girls will turn around. They are smart, enter public universities, and Clara can borrow if you need. Our happiness is more important than their plans. We deserve a new life. My husband was willing to destroy the future of daughters for their selfish whims. That's when we decided to act," Lisa said. "We couldn't stand still, watching him ruin our lives." "And what did you do?" I asked, feeling a tremor to invade me. Natasha smiled, and for a moment I saw that little cross that hacked my tablet to postpone bedtime. "We started our own investigation. I used my skills to track each digital movement of it, each site, each account, each transaction. And I took care of the physical evidence," Lisa added. "He wrote down his lies, recorded calls when he thought no one heard." "Did you record it?" I exclaimed, shocked. "Mom, we needed to protect ourselves," Lisa said firmly. "He was stealing us. We needed evidence." Natasha opened an Excel. "Look, I traced every penny. First, small amounts, as he planned. 30,000 here, 50,000 there. Always on the days when you stayed late at work. I examined the spreadsheet that my 17 daughter had raised. It was more detailed than any accounting report he has ever seen in his life. But Dad didn't have something," said Natasha, a smile that mixed triumph and something scary. "I not only tracked what he took. I found out where I was going. And when we found their joint account," Lisa added, "we knew we could stop him. I looked at my daughters, between horror and admiration. What exactly did you do? Both smiled, and in their eyes I saw the same determination that I once had me, when I fought to enter university without a penny in my pocket. We decided, said Natasha, slowly, that if Dad played with our future, we would show you how to really play. Planned for weeks, he continued, opening a folder called Justice Project. We knew we had to be smarter than him. And make sure you could never hurt us again. I looked at the screen, stunned. My teenage daughters had conducted a secret operation right under my nose. First, we gathered evidence, Lisa explained. Real. To serve in a court. Natasha opened the subfolder with digital tests. The screen filled with prints, photos, saved emails, bank statements. All meticulously filed. I learned to register everything without leaving traces, he said with a cold smile. Dad never suspected I documenting every step of him. How did you get access to his accounts? I asked, the trembling voice. Daddy is not as smart as he thinks, Natasha laughed dryly. A password for everything, your birthday or the date of our wedding. As soon as I found out, I entered everything. My chest hurt. Even the passwords were linked to me, and yet he planned to abandon us. But the digital tests were not enough, I intervened, Lisa, crossing my arms. We needed to understand the true armory. Your intentions. So I created a fake profile. His fingers danced on the keyboard, revealing a photo account of a young, smiling woman. Agata Chikhanova, 25, a newcomer to Moscow Marketera. My daughters had infiltrated the life of the father's lover as shadows. Did you deceive your father's lover? My voice failed. It was surprisingly easy, Natasha shrugged. Irina loves attention. Indeed. Weeks, she already told me everything. The romance with a married man, the plans to escape as soon as he left his wife. Lisa pulled a notebook with impeccable notes. While Natasha worked Irina, I studied her father's habits. Schedules, routes, lies. I even followed him a few times. Did you follow your father? My heart shot. This is dangerous. I was careful, Lisa replied firmly. I needed to confirm my suspicions. And it was right. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he went to Irina's rented apartment in the southwest, not working late as he said to you. Natasha turned the notebook toward me. But here it is interesting. From the conversations with Irina, I discovered something he doesn't even imagine. What? I asked, tense. She has another man, they said in unison. Roman Chernov, Natasha added. Owner of a restaurant chain in Moscow. She left with both 4 months ago. Uses your father as a reserve. Lisa nodded. And the worst, she planned to take his money and flee with Roman to St. Petersburg. Open a new business. With our money. My head spun. So, she never wanted to be with him? Never, Natasha laughed, bitter. I just wanted what I could take. Even mocking this in the messages, 40-year-old husbands, easy prey. They so desperate to feel young again. The level of betrayal was so deep that, for a second, I almost felt sorry for Boris. Almost. But we didn't stop there, Lisa continued, relentless. We needed to know when he would give the final blow. Natasha broke into the calendar and drafts of his emails, he said, like it was something trivial. Did you invade? I stood. Mom, it's easy when someone uses the same password in everything, Natasha rolled her eyes. I found the draft of a letter of resignation. He planned to resign on Friday, order the divorce on Saturday and disappear on Sunday. This weekend, I repeated, cold. This weekend, they confirmed. A wave of nausea hit me. In 4 days, my husband would destroy our family and escape with our money. But here's the beauty, Natasha smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. We anticipate him. What did you do? My voice was a whisper. Lisa smiled a sweet and terrifying smile. His plan is about to crumble. Spectacularly. Natasha opened the last tab. Mom, what if I told you that Irina Sokolova and Roman Chernov now know everything about each other? Lisa added, and that the daddy's boss already knows he has used company resources for personal purposes? The money he stole? I asked, panting. It's already safe. In the right place, Natasha concluded, triumphantly. I looked at my daughters, paralyzed. They not only exposed their father's betrayal, they destroyed each piece of his board. Girls, I managed to say. What did you do? Yesterday we put everything on the move. Lisa leaned back on the couch like a general after a victorious battle. We call the Karma operation. Natasha opened a timeline on the notebook. Everything was calculated so that he had no time to react. I leaned forward, fascinated and a little terrified by their strategic friality. Phase 1, 9 a.m., Lisa explained. While he was at work and you in the office, I went to his construction company. Did you go to his work? My stomach rapped. I said I was doing a school project about local companies, Lisa replied, Serena. I asked to interview employees. But in fact, I planted evidence where his boss would find them. Natasha pulled a folder with impressions. We chose the most compromising emails, those in which he boasted to use company computers for personal conversations, from long lunches with Irina. I left everything in the restroom, where his director, Igor Petrovich Krylov, always drink coffee after lunch. I pretended that I unintentionally dropped. I was gaping. It was genius. Phase 2 happened in parallel. Elo, Natasha resumed. Remember I had talked to Irina for weeks like Agata? I nodded, mesmerized. Yesterday, I told her that I saw Roman having dinner with another woman. I sent a picture, in fact, it was him with a business partner, but I edited to look like a betrayal. Why? I asked confused. Because I knew she was going to freak out, Natasha smiled. And when that happened, she would talk about Plan B with a married man who gives her money. What she did, Lisa added pleased. Roman suspected and began to investigate. And we help. Natasha opened another tab. I sent anonymous prints to him, expensive dinners, gifts, weekend trips all paid with our money. A wave of painful satisfaction has traveled me. The web of Irina lies crumbled. Roman went crazy, Lisa said. Yesterday, invaded her office, made a scandal in front of everyone, called her a self-interested and was furious. Natasha laughed. But the best came later. Irina called Dad, crying, asking her to comfort her. And he, of course, left work early and ran to her apartment. Which means, I started to understand. That Igor Petrovich found the tests in the restroom just when he wasn't there, they said together. But it's not over yet. Natasha clicked on the mouse. Phase 3 was the most important. Lisa's eyes shone. The money. As his father tried to decipher Irina's hysteria and his boss discovered the compromising evidence, Natasha performed the crucial part of the plan. His fingers danced over the keyboard with surgical accuracy. I spent weeks monitoring your joint account, I asked, almost no breath. How did you get all the information? Passwords, security questions. Everything. Natasha rolled her eyes with an ironic smile. He used his single surname as a secret response. Her voice dripped disdain. And Irina's birthday as PIN. She sighed, as if men's predictability exhausted her. Men are so obvious. Lisa checked the records on the clock, 15:47 the day before. While his father calmed Irina and his boss summoned an emergency meeting on ethical violations, Natasha transferred every penny of the stolen funds back to the family account. All. Until the last kopeck. I don't believe, I muttered, stunned. Mom, you have been using the same password since I was 12, Natasha pointed out dryly. And technically, as their daughters, we have full right to access family savings. That's when I understood, my girls had devised every detail. Not only did they dismantle their father's plan, but they shielded our future with a precision that even I, his mother, had underestimated. That is, I said slowly, savoring every syllable, right now, Boris thinks he's a step to start a new life with Irina, with our money. Lisa smiled, almost malicious. In fact, your boss is preparing your resignation. Your lover is in tears because her lover abandoned her, Natasha added, laughing. And the money he stole? Disappeared as by magic. And he has no idea that everything is connected, I finished, feeling a chill of satisfaction. But then I looked at them, and something in their smiles, something too calculated, made my heart jump. What will happen when he finds out? They exchanged a look. A look that froze my blood. Ah, mother, Lisa said softly. That's where the most interesting part begins. We didn't have to wait long. At 2:37 at dawn, the front door broke against the wall with a crash that shook the paintings. Boris's voice echoed through the hallway, loaded with a fury that I had never heard before. Clara. I was on the couch, still in pajamas, trying to sue what my daughters had done. Lisa and Natasha, supposedly sleeping in their rooms, but I knew, they heard every word. Boris erupted in the living room, his red face, his hair wretched. His usual executive composure had gone out, the wrinkled shirt, the missing tie. It didn't seem to sleep for days. What money? I asked, with a calm that surprised me, despite the heart hollow in my chest. Don't pretend you don't know, he roared, pointing a trembling finger at me. The account is empty. Everything disappeared. Until the last kopeck. I got up slowly, facing his hatred with a firmness that I didn't even recognize. Do you mean, the money you stole from our daughters' economies? His face paled. Like you. How do I know about Irina? I completed it for him. About your plan to abandon us and start a new life in Sochi? About the sign of the apartments in Adler? My voice gained strength with each word. How did you call us boring and predictable in emails to your lover? His mouth opened and closed, like a fish out of water. Clara, I can explain. Explain what? I cut, cold. How did you lie for 7 months? How did you plan to steal the future of their daughters? How did you betray everything we built in 20 years? You don't understand. He collapsed, desperate. Me and Irina, it was real. We were happy. You and I had lived as strangers for years. The audacity of his words was to leave no words. And did you solve this problem stealing your daughters? My voice cut like a blade. They are smart, they'll get bags, he risked, pathetic. You don't need this money as much as Irina and I needed our new beginning. I looked at the man with whom I had divided 2 decades and realized, with painful clarity, I did not know this person. Where have you been, Boris, tonight? His face writhed. Everything collapsed, Clara. Krylov fired me. His voice broke. I said I used company resources for personal purposes. That I was a shame for the company. And your lover? I asked, although I knew the answer. Don't answer my calls, he admitted, sinking into the armchair. Her husband discovered everything. He set a scandal in her office. Now she blames me for destroying her life. For a second, I almost felt sorry. Almost. Then let's recap, he said, crossing his arms. You lost your job. It was abandoned by the lover. And now comes home. Waiting what? Compassion. I made mistakes, he begged, his eyes full of despair that no longer moved me. But we can fix it. Let's go to a therapist. I will make up for you and the girls. What money? My voice was ice. You stole everything we had. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. He exploded, rising from a jump. The money is gone. Someone emptied the account that Irina and I opened. All. 3,700,000 rubles, Simplum. Boris's face paled like wax melting in the sun. What are you talking about? Natalia turned the notebook on the table, exposing the messages exchanged between Agata Chikhanova and Irina. She used you, father. His voice was a sharp blade. She has another, Roman Chernov. He planned to take his money and disappear with him to St. Petersburg. Lisa's fingers slid down the screen, highlighting the words like knives. Middle-aged husbands always think they hooked a young woman, but they are just dairy cows for them. I saw Boris's jaw tremble when the truth hit him like a punch in the stomach. He had destroyed a family for a woman who played with him in the same cynical way he had played with me. That's impossible, he whispered, his hands shaking. She loves me. She said herself. She loves money, Natalia cut, dries like a sentence. And now that Roman has dropped her because of you and you have lost your job, she doesn't want to know about you or him. Boris sank in his chair, his shoulders bent as if they carry the weight of decades of mistakes. What do you want from me? The girls exchanged you. But look, then they fixed their eyes on me. We had already discussed this moment after their confession. We want you to leave. Today. Arrange your things and get out. But this is also my home, he tried weak. Actually, no. Lisa opened a folder with documents, sliding them across the table like a verdict. In the mortgage contract, only the name of Mom is as the owner. You signed the renunciation yourself 5 years ago in refinancing. Remember? He said it was more advantageous for taxes. Boris stared at the rolls, his memory returning him the moment when, with his own pen, he had dug his own trap. We have already talked to a lawyer, continued Natalia, ruthless. We have enough evidence to process it for fraud and diversion of money. But we are willing to agree. What agreement? The distrust in his voice was a harassed animal. You sign the divorce, Lisa explained, crossing his arms. Leave everything to Mom. Accepts that the girls stay with her. Get out of town and never appear. In return, let's not go to the police. You're not serious, he begged, the pleading eyes turned to me. Clara, it's your daughters. You cannot allow them to do this. I looked at that man, the husband I shared with 20 years, the father of my daughters, the one with whom I shared a house, a bed, dreams, and I only felt disgusted. You destroyed this family the moment you decided that your lover was worth more than the future of your daughters, I said, low and firm. They did not destroy anything. They saved what could still be saved. Boris was silent for a long time. Then he nodded slowly, as if every movement of the neck he gave. He is well. I will sign your rolls. But don't expect me to disappear forever. They are also my daughters. Actually, Natalia smiled, sweet and lethal, we expect exactly that you will disappear forever. Because if you try to contact us once, we will make everything public, recordings, messages, proof of theft. Let's make sure this whole city knows who you are really. Boris looked at each of us, seeking and not finding a single trace of pity. He had bet everything on a woman who had used him like garbage. And lost. I'll get my things today, he said at last, the broken voice. Tomorrow, I won't be here anymore. When he went to the room, Lisa called him. Father, the next time he wants to steal his family, at least change his passwords. At 6:23 a.m., the front door knocked behind him. From the kitchen window, I watched as I carried the few belongings in the car we allowed it to take. He looked at the house one last time. I didn't get my hand to say goodbye. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. The savings account was recovered, the interest rates fell again as blessings. Lisa entered Sechenov University with full scholarship and extra assistance. Natalia was accepted at MFTI after winning a computer Olympics, with all costs covered. From Boris, we never had news, though sometimes asked me if he had found that arena after all, out to St. Petersburg with Roman. My girls, meanwhile, created a channel on Telegram, Teenage Justice. There, they help young people deal with family crises and adult betrayals. Dozens have already found the support they needed in them. I've never been so proud. They taught me that sometimes those who love you more strongly are able to fight to death to protect you. And that justice often comes from where we least expect it.